Hello everybody, this is Ben for the Blue Monday podcast. I have just had the joys of watching a Mick McCarthy press conference. He was on very good form in kind of usual alpha male Yorkshire sarcasm style, but he did reveal a fair amount about what we can expect to happen on Saturday and what is likely to happen up to the international break on September the 2nd. He revealed first off, there would be no Adam Webster. He's in a boot. I guess that means one of those moon boot things, and probably not back until after the international break. So really bad news. He was out for 7 months, sub-appearance at Forest for a little while, last game of last season. Sub-appearance against Birmingham at the end there. Starts against Luton and only lasts a half. Big shame. Hopefully we can get that straightened out. Spence and Smith are back training, so that's the likely replacement there. Spence probably into the back three. Got love my 3-5-2. Ward hasn't trained, but he's likely to play. And Garner was just preventative. Skews is okay. He did reveal that Luke Hyam is back in training. Check out my video ranking the current Ipswich Town squad and see where I think Hyam fits in. Whether he makes the bench on Saturday or not, given all the injuries, he may do. Hughes and Adeyemi revealed not likely to come back until after the international break. I think he's looking at that as a kind of phase 2 of the start of the season and people coming in there. When he was speaking about the system, he referred to it as in the system we're playing. So I do think there's quite a high chance that he's sticking with this, and we're going to see it again, for this whole first phase of fixtures up to September the 2nd, and he's going to review things then. Asked about Flynn Downs, and he kind of shrugged it off and said that he knew he was a good player last pre-season, 16-17, but wasn't going to be prepared to put him in then, and that he knew that this was coming. He also revealed he was the best in the club on the bleep test, which is a stamina thing, which is very good for the centre midfielders. When asked about his strikers, he said that all 4 can play in any combination, all intelligent enough. 4? There's more than 4. Maybe he meant all. I guess there's 6 if you include more, but he's out on loan. There was a lot of talk about Waghorn and how versatile he is. I know a lot of people, kind of get a bit fed up, especially with the Sears example of a forward being moved around all over the place. So maybe Waghorn's versatility may work against him, may work for him, may get him more games. No new arrivals unless injuries bite was the quote. So that's it. Hopefully nobody out the door, and it's starting to look like a good strong squad with possibly 2 players for most positions and 2 players who have played first team as well. When asked about loaning players out, again this came up in my video about the hierarchy of the squad. He said he wasn't going to do that until he looked at the under-23s team and stressed the importance of a good under-23s team as a place for the young players to play and develop together, which I'm sure be music to quite a few people's ears. If you're going to do that, you've got to commit to it and nobody out on loan and really strengthen that team up. But it could be a good thing. He bigged up Skews and Chambers when talking about the young players, highlighted them as good examples, kind of reinforcing what we knew already about them really being his favourites. And then he slipped in Joe Garner as well. Keeps talking about the player in behind the front 2. He's making a big thing of that. Talked about Ward doing it against Birmingham and Nydam doing it against Luton. So he really sees his midfield 3 as one off the front. We had so many tweets through last season asking to see McGoldrick in that position. Possibly you could even pop Selina in that position, although he's used an orthodox midfielder both times. We did see Waghorn in that position as well against Luton. So for those who are dreaming of the McGoldrick off the front threading the ball through, well, he keeps talking about one behind the front 2. It came up that they were odds on for relegation, and we got a nice I think that's bollocks. So he got his statutory kind of a mild swear in there, not a shit or a fuck, but just a bollocks. Away at Barnsley, one of the hardest games we had all last season. Normal a Mickism there. Says he feels he's done well in the transfer market and that we have good strikers now. One interesting quote, he said, Dominic's come in and nailed that right wing-back spot, which is a very interesting quote, which I don't believe he would have said if Webster hadn't been injured. I think he's saying that to boost Iorfa's confidence because Spence is going to come in at right centre-half and Iorfa's going to keep his position. Has Iorfa actually nailed the right wing-back spot? Probably not if Webster is fit and Spence is fit. I think it's those two that side, but certainly going to be building his confidence, and he looks like he's going to be in until September now, Iorfa. He didn't commit to the idea of squad rotation, said he was just going to judge it and see how it goes, but it certainly would be nice to think that you could just bung on two strikers. Certainly, if he's not even rotating game to game, the options off the bench are now a lot better. We did get a nice Saturday, Tuesday there, which was great. He sticks to his guns on his record with youth players and still claims the only reason a youngster won't get into his team is if they are not good enough. Spoke about keeping young players on the ground and that all the contracts at Ipswich were based on extra appearances and warned against ego and stuff. Call me a conspiracy theorist, reading too much into it. Was that a note to Bishop about feet on the ground, etc.? One line about last year, he's now very much admitted, he said it wasn't pretty, but it was a means to an end. Whether or not this was his chat with Evans in between, get to the end of the season and I will give you some money, whether that's what he means by means to an end. We got a nice bonkers and some messing around with the Carabao Cup stuff. Phil from TWTD asked about Andre Dazelle. We got a lovely quote. He looks as sad as a seaside donkey. And he started putting the emphasis on a 12-month absence, as if to say Dazelle's coming back. He said this time next year, which I think is good because I think it just takes any pressure off Dazelle, even if there wasn't any anyway. But I think it's a good thing for him to be doing, to be saying, look, you've got 12 months. We'll give you as long as you like, even though it's a 9-month injury. And finally, on the League Cup draw, he says he didn't know they were unseeded and doesn't care, but did speak about not wanting to lose the goodwill gained in the league games. So, new season, new Mick. That was the highlights from the press conference. The main big news is Webster out until September, likely to stick with 3-5-2. So, more ideas on the team probably tomorrow as we come up to the Barnsley game. Listen to the podcast. We've got a preview show with Chris Mason from the Reds Report, the Barnsley podcast. Recording that later today and that will be out for you tomorrow. In the meantime, obviously subscribe to the Blue Monday podcast on Acast, iTunes. Follow all of us on Twitter at Benjamin Bloom, at David Diamond 3, at ChompX3, at Blue Monday ITFC. And please subscribe to me here on YouTube at Benjamin Bloom. As usual, thoughts in the comments. If you think I've got it wrong, tell me. And looking forward to the weekend.